Welcome back to the psychology of obesity.
As we talked about in our previous session, change is a process and not an event. And everyone goes through a variety of stages in order to achieve change. But for most of us, we hold on to irrational beliefs and ideas which block us from facilitating that change and moving on to the next stage.
Today we are going to talk a little about some of those blocks, and provide you with some strategies for overcoming those blocks.
Like most people who seek personal growth, you will probably find that it is painful in the short term. It may seem easier to forget the long-term benefits and simply drift along with things as they are. It isn't that you are lazy or unmotivated, you probably do want to change. But let's face it, most of us don't want to spend the time, do the work or experience the pain of change right now. The immediate gain from avoidance can get in the way of achieving our long-term goals.
We might have a low tolerance for discomfort. No one likes pain. Unfortunately, many people turn this into a demand. Discomfort and pain are intolerable and I must avoid them at all costs. If you think this way, you are unlikely to do much changing. Why? Because personal change will be uncomfortable in the short term.
Fear of discomfort may reveal itself in the "I don't want to" block. You probably see it as a good idea to work on yourself, but you may not want to take the required action right now. Unfortunately, many people think that before you can do something you have to want to.
You can do things you don't want to. Not by telling yourself you have to do it, or that you should, but by choosing to, then doing them. You can choose to feel unwanted discomfort now in order to make progress towards something better in the future. Wanting does not have to come before doing.
There are other irrational ideas about change which can hinder your self-help program. Common myths like, somewhere there's a magic key, or it's all genetics and I can change, or it's too late, I'm too old and too set in my ways, or there must be a quick solution like a magic pill, or operation which will quickly transform me into a thin person. These myths, often perpetuated by the weight loss conglomerates, which makes close to $60 billion each year, can prevent you from doing the work necessary to change. But there are strategies to assist you in overcoming these blocks to making effective change.
One technique is to do a self-analysis whenever you feel blocked.
Dispute vigorously any myths like those mentioned. Watch out for catastrophizing about how you will feel if you try to tackle things you have been avoiding. Put an end to any self-rating about being useless and therefore incapable of improving yourself. Deal with any fears about what others will think if you change or take steps to achieve your goals. Dispute the belief that you cannot stand or should not have to experience discomfort. Be prepared to tolerate a short-term increase in discomfort in order to better yourself in the long term.
Ask for help. A counselor, a psychotherapist, or simply a friend can help you explore some of those difficulties you are experiencing and perhaps suggest ways to overcome them. Make sure you are not expecting perfection. Often expecting perfection is really an excuse for inaction. There are no perfect solutions. Settle for the best you can obtain under the circumstances, and get on with it.
Develop a system of prompts to remind you to carry out self-help tasks. Write your reminders on small cards and place them where you can't miss them, on the bathroom mirror, in your briefcase or handbag, on the cupboard door, or in the car. Think up keywords that will remind you to stop and analyze when you are feeling or acting in ways you don't like, such as dispute, think, stop, and write them somewhere where you will often see them, for example, on a label attached to your keyring or watch strap.
Everyone is different. Some things will work better than others for you. Develop some of your own, and note the ones that help the most. Then continue to use them. Don't expect instant cures. Using a technique once will not make much difference. Practice it often.
Develop a system of reminders of why you want to change. Write down all your motivations for changing and read them daily. Remind yourself that change is a process and not an event. Expect difficulties and be a mindful observer of driving forces behind your behavior. And then meet those needs with positive activities.
And finally, develop a system of rewards that are not food-related, to celebrate your successes. Use your imagination in thinking up such rewards, plan them in advance, and make sure you only give yourself a reward when you have carried out the relevant task.
Using these techniques and suggestions will help you counter some of the blocks that prevent you from moving forward through the stages of change. And on the website you will find links to assist you with some of these techniques.
Be assured, you can change. If you can think, if you can learn, you can change. You're never too old, or too set in your ways to alter your behavior. Understanding the motivation behind thoughts, actions, and the subsequent need that behavior represents, is paramount to replacing the self-destructive behavior with a healthier, more positive substitute.
Change is hard when you feel that it puts you at risk, when your fundamental needs are not met. However, change is exhilarating when it moves you in toward a more capable self.
I hope this has been an informative and enlightening session on some of the blocks associated with change, and gave you some motivation and techniques to counter those blocks and move forward through your exciting stages of change.
Until next time then, good luck.
And thank you for visiting the Psychology of Obesity.